a totally acceptable way. But I want it right because we've got a kata to do, so I can't have variations already. So, left to left, Ali is attacking with his lead hand, not his back hand. Is that alright? And I am stepping in. So, if I shuffle forwards, still works, but the next movement would have to be a different counter, because I'm not in the position that Motobu shows it, right? If Ali swung with his backhand, and I went that way, still works, but that's not what Motobu does. Is that okay? Perfectly fine, variations that are fully in accord with his principles. But the version of what you're doing now is left to left, I step into right, he attacks with his front hand. Is that okay? Okay, right. So another one of his rules, blocking with one hand and striking with the other is not true martial arts. Right? So he doesn't like this idea of what I call like windscreen wiper blocking. You know, people do it like, okay, I'll block anything that's coming in and then run for the gaku goes. Right? He tends to block and hit with the same hand. You'll see that the advantage that has is, so let's say, for example, he's thrown that one. I'm not doing what, but if I blocked here, right, that hand has a definite opening. Is that okay? Because I'll be on the inside of that arm. The other thing is it'll get there quicker. So let's say I only threw a shot off the backhand there and I went, I go block that way, and then I hit with this one. This will be a harder shot, but it'll be a slower shot. Whereas that one will be quicker. Then I can hit him with the second one. Is that okay? So it's one of the things that Motobu does a lot is he hits with the hand he's just blocked with. My friend Christian Wiedemann from Germany, he has a little rule he calls first things first. Right, so what he does is he blocks with whatever's nearest to the attacking weapon, and then the other hand can be a follow-up if it misses. And he consistently strikes with whichever hand is nearest. And again, that's very much in line with Motobu's drill. One thing, on Motobu's rules, when he says always and never, he doesn't mean that. When he says always, he means most of the time, and when he says never, he means rarely. So, for example, Zenkutsudachi is a terrible stance. There's pictures of him using Zenkutsudachi. Blocking with one hand and striking with the other is not true martial arts. He does that from time to time. Another one of his rules is, in a real fight, always hit the head, for this is most effective. He hits the body a lot as well. Do you know what I mean? So, obviously, it's better to hit the head if you can, but if I want a reasonable hit from here, Motobu's is the best shot is the rib cage. Right? Your elbow's there already. This hand crucially stays here. So when I throw the elbow, I'll turn my body into it. So stepping from like the front position into the side position, bang, here. I've still got that. If I do that, I'm wide open to this one. As soon as that's happened, the way I get my suit is we create space. So I'll push. That may push them back or it may push me off. I don't care, it creates space. To start with, by all means, do it in a robotic, tick-tocky way. Right? So you'll swing your shot, you go 1, 2, away. Nothing wrong with that to remind you of the positions. Once you've got it, it's more akin to this. Boom. Is that okay? So it's just like I move in, bang, hit him with everything I've got, and then move straight back out. Is that alright? Nothing wrong with mapping out the positions, but in application, it's and then I'm away from there straight away. Get in, do damage, get out. Is everyone okay with that one? That, by the way, is the entirety of the first drill. Do not let that lull you into a false sense of security. Right? Because there are more complex ones, but the first one's pretty straightforward. It's a habit on all of these. Don't lose that backhand. I'll tell you about a third of you are, and you probably don't realise you're doing it. Right? So you're doing things like this, you're going 1, 2. Or 1, 2. Yes. Yeah, that hand sticks to it, it stays there. Yeah, because there's no advantage to be gained by doing that. I want to keep the hand covered, whether I'm covering the fist or I'm pinning it to his chest, doesn't matter. But when I do that strike, I still want that one covered. The true blocks of karate make it difficult to launch a second attack. Is that okay? So you want that hand covered. Okay, one more go. One minute making this form. So I know that when I do it in application, I crash in, I hit, I move, I push. Do I want to do the kata like that? And I thought one of the problems of doing the kata in that full flowing explosive way is the details could get lost among the mass of that movement. So I thought, no, I'll do it the way the traditional kata are. I'll freeze frame the key points. On the full understanding that in application I don't freeze frame those full points. I'm doing it in the kata so that is a reminder to me or anyone I teach it to that you should hit these positions. The difference is in the kata you hit them and freeze on them, to almost like underline them if you like. But in application you still hit them and you just don't freeze on them. So what I'd like you to do, just for 30 seconds on your own, start from this kind of position. You don't need to do it now, you can in a minute if you like. You can follow on if you want to, or however you learn. But what I want you to do is think, I'm stepping forwards, crashing my hand into that shoulder, and then from there I want to keep that hand forwards because I want to keep the pressure on the back hand as I hit with the elbow. So the kata version of it would be 1, 2, and away. Is that okay? So just do a few on your own where you map out that position. Is that okay? Then we'll move on to number 2. Is that all right? Because this is out up here in the kata. On number 2, the first thing is he does a blocking movement. When he does it, it's palm up. And he doesn't explain why, but I'm going to explain why I think why. So if I want to latch onto that arm, which is what I'm going to do, if Ali was the sort of thing, I'd just try and grab it out of the air. I'd hope most of you accept that would be very difficult to do. Right, I'm trying to intercept it exactly. There's also the difficulty that as my hand's flying towards it, if it hits his arm, it might knock it away. Right, so I'll try and reach it and now it's gone. So what I'm going to do is I'll go that way and then I flop onto it. Is that okay? So it's palm up and then palm down. You know, you see that in a lot of kata, right? Hangetsu, Seizan, Sishan, that kind of thing. So he swings his backhand shot, I'm going to go there and then I'm going to drop onto it. So that's all I want you to do to start with. So now we're still left to left. He's now swinging a backhand shot and my third, right? But that was a quicker one, but it is going here to there. I'm not going like that on this one, right? And from there, so now I've got that arm locked on. There's another thing you'll notice he does. He very rarely does this thing of going, kind of blocking and then getting his arm back. I've got that now. It's mine. He's like, okay, you know, and he'll let go of it when there's something better to be gained. You know, I'll lose control of the arm in order to hit him in the head. But again, he's constantly trying to take away options. So there's a lot of really good combative principles in Motobu's route. Is everyone okay with that one? So and you can do it off with a straight shot or a hook. It doesn't matter, whatever you like. But your left foot forwards, partner swinging or firing a straight shot in. You're covering it with your lead hand and then just flopping onto it. Is that okay? Ideal place is towards the elbow. Because, I mean, you get what you get, right? But if I'm towards his elbow, I've got really good control of his whole arm. If I'm here, that elbow joint, you can start wiggling and I lose a bit of control. If I go up here, I haven't controlled it at all. You know what I mean? So when I get towards the elbow, I've got nice control over it. Doesn't need to be precise. Real fights aren't precise. But the closer you get to that, the better it is. Is everyone okay to give that one a go? Is that right? First part of number 2? You can do with that, right? So one is, I now know where his arm is. The other thing that this gives me is, not only am I aware of this arm, I'm aware to a degree of what the rest of his body is doing now. Because we tend to move as a whole, right? So if I suddenly feel that arm kind of move, there's a good chance that other arm is on its way. Right? So the next thing he does is, having done that, is he drops. Right? So the stance gets longer. And the reason for that is then his head isn't where he thought, your head isn't where he thought it was going to be. Right? And having done that, he brings this arm up as a cover as well. Is it okay? So you end up in this kind of position. So that's the next part we've got. So he swung that first shot, he then swings a shot in with the second hand, and I'm there. So I'm going forwards and in. You notice how I've got his hands a bit vertical? On number 9, it is a little bit more horizontal. But on this one, there's a degree of disrupting his structure as well. And I'm not forcing his hand down. He's moving that hand because he wants to swing a shot with the other one, so I'm just guiding it away from him. He's okay, and again, it's hard for Ali to hit me from here because I've got both the insides of his elbows controlled. He's okay, and I'm upright still, spine is straight, whereas he's starting to do this. He's a little bit tilted. So 1, 2. He's okay, would be the timing for that now. Is everyone okay with that? So you're flopping down onto it. As soon as you get there, whoop, it's moving, it's moving, it's moving. I know what that means. So I'm going to move my head and cover. I'm not just going to rely on the cover. I'm not just going to rely on moving my head. I'm going to do both. Is that okay? And it ends up in almost like a Yodan style position with that backhand. Is that okay? Now here's the thing. That's the posture where I'm in his hand, right? Having taught these drills a lot, pretty much everyone I've taught these to who has a Shotokan background wants to do that. Right? Because Basai Sho doesn't know its place and it jumps for, I've got this. No, you haven't. It's not much in Shito-Ryu and Goju-Ryu, they want to do that. Because they want to seipai it. It's neither of those. Right? It just flops on as you're there. So it's this arc here, index finger forwards, palm down. Is that okay? Just so your pre-existing training gets back in its box. Is that okay? Is everyone right to give that a go? Okay, a quick note those two. Thank you.